Good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm here. Pastor Riggins is here. Byron Glass is here. Well, BG. He wants to be known as BG. I'm sorry. But we're here. We're live. We're doing our thing, and we're trying to get y'all informed and all the rest of that stuff. It's a lot of stuff been going on this week. And Byron.
Yes, sir.
Before I do this, I hope AF Riggins can see this. Oh man, it went away. Go ahead, Byron. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and Byron, go ahead and take it and introduce it past AF Riggins while I do this in the background.
Yes, sir, Mr. Spikes. Good afternoon. Stormy weather going on here. I think stormy weather going on where AF Riggins is at. While he got his pimp juice suit on the side, we're gonna say good afternoon.
Take that down, man.
CAF out there looking like one of them old school guys, but he's sharp.
You see them shoes, man? Did you see them suede shoes?
Yes,
Crazy,
I see.
Nothing but a teacher, boy.
I saw everything I needed to, Mr. Spikes. Good afternoon, Riggins. I'm gonna take it to you, Riggins.
That's the 1980s, Doc. 1980s, representing the 80s. Teachers,
yeah. What I did notice is I just got a subscription notification, so it is working on YouTube. So we got that going.
Mm-hmm.
All right, AF, it's in your hands.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to have y'all on tonight. Or glad to be on with y'all tonight. Two Gents and AF Riggins. Hey, Ron, what we talking about tonight? Are we ready to jump in and give my 2 cents with the Two Gents?
Well, I'm gonna give 1 cent. I want y'all to look at my hat.
What is it, Mrs. Spikes?
Them Colorado Buffaloes.
Okay, you repping Shador.
Now I'm repping Shador the best way I can.
Prime
Spend
time.
my money to support them any way I can. So
You repping Shador.
yes, sir.
Hey, Rick, let's get into it, man. Because when we get to talking, man, we forget. Listen, Ron hit me up, and I've been just trying to study a pattern that's been going on, since the last election. So tonight's topic is going to be mass incarceration, lack of education, and high unemployment. Ron, how does that affect, the African American community? What is it that we are doing to, minimize some of those issues? Because we know that mass incarceration has been going on. We know that lack of education takes place and is becoming more and more prevalent. And high unemployment, when you add 1 + 1 + 1, you're getting off into dangerous areas where everybody, not just Black America, but all America is going to be affected. Because when you got an uneducated populace out there, you got them having a lack of education, then Riggins, every house in the neighborhood stands the opportunity of maybe, being vandalized and or killings because of break-ins, people having open carry, so forth and so on. So we just kind of wanted to, tackle that area because, we go all over from A to Z on any show. So it's not just limited to that, but that's the featured topic. So if we got anybody out there listening, you're welcome to tune in. You're welcome to join in. Joined tonight by Mr. Ron Spikes and AF Riggins. I don't know where he's at. He's got his pimp suit on, so he shouldn't be hiding. He should be somewhere in the cut. Riggins, come on out, man. Ron,
Man,
go
look
ahead.
here. I got my tie on, man. What y'all talking about, brother?
We
Hey.
can't see you, Riggins.
You can't see me. I can see you all.
Well,
I
we
can
can't
see him. I can see him. Glass. Go ahead. He good. I can see him.
Okay, I can't see him.
Okay.
Yeah, it must be the user. Anyway, man, I'm having fun
We're
tonight.
gonna put an avatar up, Glass.
Oh, man, stop there, man. Stop.
Now I see him. Okay, now I see
Crazy,
him.
man. Hey, Ron, do that again. You crazy, man. Hey, listen up. So,
He gone again.
as we talk about mass incarceration, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you clear. Go ahead.
Mass incarceration. The 13th Amendment says all persons should be free from slavery unless they are incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice, and I've done this, is something, this the statistics are there, but I've actually been involved in from 1994 until 2009. I was involved in prison ministry, county jail ministry. First county jail ministry from 1994 to 2002, and from 2003 to 2009, I was involved in the Texas Department of Corrections state prison ministry. And our population of African Americans about 14% United States. At the time, Hispanics were about, I would say, between 9 and 10%. Now that population has grown exponentially. However, when I went into the prison ministry, 85% of them, or at least 75%, were African American. At the least, it was 70%. 20% or 25% was Hispanic, and 5% that I witnessed were Anglo Americans. That tells me that once you're incarcerated, you're now a slave again. Mass incarceration. Now, myself as a school teacher and a pastor was leaving teaching students during the day or leaving preaching to the community and walking into a situation where these men were captive, held in captivity, trying to survive. And I'm preaching the gospel to them. And they go, people say it's called a jailhouse religion. Some came out, stayed in the straight. I know I can go and touch some of those guys today. A lot of it will recycle back in. Mass incarceration. Once you're incarcerated too and got that felony, you can't vote. So that's just my little 2 cents right now. We'll add more to it later.
So Riggins, let's look at lack of education equaling let me back up. Let's look at lack of having a job, high unemployment, lack of education on that scale. Those two equaling mass incarceration. Is there any correlation that you feel systemically that exists, or is this just a problem that's something that we can tackle? What is it that I'm assuming politicians, elected officials, churches, nonprofits, what is it that we can do to minimize mass incarceration, minimize lack of education, minimize high unemployment? Now, I've seen kids, guys, young kids, older guys, middle age or whatever, for whatever reason, they're not willing to work, at least some. But they'll go around and ask you for this, go around and ask you for that. You're doing stuff in your neighborhood, but they won't work, but they'll tell you that they can't find a job or this job ain't paying enough. Well, I always thought that if you're not making zero, if you're making $0, and you got a chance to make $8.75 or $9.25, why would you not go and get that job? So Riggins, I've experienced that with a lot of people over the last 3 months. So I'm gonna let you drive in. Ron, you're welcome to chime in at any point in time, because we don't want to be critical. We don't want to critique, but we want to point out the facts as to how they're going as far as reality here in 2025.
Glass, I heard you say something, Pastor Riggins. Just let me say something real quick. I heard you say something, and the thing that sent off a light in my head was you said they don't want to work. When I hear that, I think about a situation. I'm not critiquing. I'm trying to make it better, but it was a young boy going down the street the other day, Caucasian. He came. He was riding his bike. Just happened to be out in the front yard, and he said, I forgot what he said. He said something. It was something that he wanted to do to make money. Oh, he wanted to walk dogs. He said, do you have a dog? So I'm trying to start a walking dog service. So Lorena said, I don't have a dog, but this is what she said. She said, if you want to pull some weeks, say I'll pay you for pulling those weeks. he sit there and I looked at him, his face got complex. And then this is what he say. He say, okay, I'll do that. Sometimes I guess what I'm saying, when I hear you say they don't want to work, that kind of sends me the other way, Byron. I mean, if you don't want to work, how do you expect to eat? If you don't want to work, how do you expect to have shelter? If you don't want to work, how do you expect? Are you just constantly, as soon as you go to prison, you fall back on your in-laws or whatever, and then you become a burden on them, and then eventually they start talking to you a certain way, and then you end up back in there. So I'm trying to follow that logic of not wanting to work, and if that's not where you want to go, just move on.
That's all part of it.
Yeah, that's all part. Let me try to. So a kid is 4, 5, 6 years old, and parents inundate them with images or let them, maybe at 8 or 9, get a cell phone, and they see all this glitz and glamour and rap stars and athletic stars and wearing fancy clothes and jewelry and showing them money. Meanwhile, that same student in the schoolhouse is not disciplined, or parents not involved in their education, and they're failing. So by 3rd grade, they can't read. But they see that there's a lifestyle out there that look like somebody got a bunch of money. Now the school and the parents and the church and the community leaders have to come together and say to the young man, young woman, the way you're going to get from point A to point B is you got to get an education to obtain a job or get into the right space and place to get noticed. Your talent could be noticed so you can be able to make the money that's going on the back end, have the glitz and the glamour and the bankroll. That's where we're missing it, because young black, what's the song by Donny Hathaway? Young black, gifted and talented, or something like that. Got a lot of talent. They can dance, they can move, they can shake, they can talk, they can make comedy, make people laugh. They can, we have some natural talent. Some can read, but then their friends saying to read make you nerd and make you look like you're square, so they don't want to read. And all of a sudden, when they look up, they're not 6 anymore, they're 14. And now they're behind everybody in the class. So because they're behind everybody in the class, they start showing, oh, that was gonna rhyme, but they don't I ain't gonna use that word. Start showing themselves off. And they're showing off in the classroom. So now they end up in what? In school suspension, suspended, alternative school, getting farther behind. Because now they can't really read. And next thing you know, they're 19. And like Barron said, they're not 19. And they don't want to work because guess what's available to them now? McDonald's, $9.25. Pushing bucket carts at the grocery store, $12 an hour. Maybe go work for the city at a minimum, maybe $13, $14, $50 an hour. But that kind of money doesn't give them the lifestyle that they wanted to have, that they listen through in their beats. Another thing, parents buy them and give them all this stuff. Work real hard, grandparents, and don't let them know the value of, I done spent $300 on these earphones, I done spent $500 on this PlayStation, I done did this, whatever, and they just think they think things are given to them, and now it can't be given to them, and that's just what they do. So now they want the quick money fast. I can't get my hands on this kind of money. Brother up the street say, hey, run some dope for me. Be a mule. Somebody else say, hey man, let's go. Let me tell you, there are guys in their 20s and 30s around Brenham, African American, who get arrested for doing what? Watching stuff they've seen on movies and YouTube, going trying to take trucks and steal ATMs. I've known 2 or 3 groups of guys, and they between 30s and 40s down going to jail. What you trying to get out of ATM? You're trying to steal it. Can't even get into the ATM because they want the money without putting the work in. They want the money, they want the things and stuff without. When my brother and I was 13 and 14 years old, we were cutting grass around the neighborhood, asking somebody, and they were paying us $20 a piece. sometimes $15 a piece. My parents got me involved in the program, youth program, where we go work for the town. I work for this town. The year that I graduated, my senior picture, I was 3 or 4 shades darker than this, because I got sunburned the whole summer, cutting with a sling blade and lawnmower, cleaning the park, at the sewage treatment center, everywhere, and brought all my siblings their clothes for school that year to help my parents out. And the next 3 or 4 years, I worked at the school. Between college years, I would go home and work at the school, buffing the floors, painting the school, making the money while I'm getting my education. While I'm going back to NLU and getting the education, starting NAACP, I was working. Finally worked in town, in Monroe, worked at a health center as a janitor. Wasn't shame of the job. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. I'm putting money in the bank account. I got a vision for my life. You don't have to go to college. You can go to a welding. You can go through HVAC. You can go to plumbing. You can go to mechanic, auto mechanic, diesel mechanic. But until we teach our people the value of education, learn something. It don't have to be in the college, but learn a trade. Learn something to do with your hands. Learn how to get paid.
Well, Ron, if you got a high percentage across the country of African American males that's expelled from school, if you got a high percentage of those that are expelled from school that cannot get a job, if you got a high percentage of both those entities, mass incarceration has to be high, and they all are correlated together. It's like one, if you miss it, it's kind of like math, Riggins. Math is a stepping stone. What you learn on Monday, you got to know on Tuesday. And what you learn on Tuesday, you got to know what you learn on Monday. And Wednesday, you got to know what you learn on Monday and Tuesday. It kind of goes like that. If you're getting kicked out of school, you don't have an education. If you don't have an education, they're not going to hire you for the job. And if you can't get the job, you only got another option. So it all ties in together. And again, Riggins, I like what you said earlier when you talked about, I saw somewhere where a person posted, and get this, they posted every church that was in their parish, every church. And I thought about it. We've done that pretty much here. And I think it's like 17, 18, 19, maybe 20. So Riggins, if 20 of those Black churches gave $100 a month for 12 months, Ron, you sitting back over there in the cut. I made A's of math, but I'm gonna let you do the formula to figure it out. $100 a month, 20 churches per month, times 12. What's that total dollar value? Whatever that total dollar value is, Riggins, and you let that go in for maybe 5 years, interest-bearing account or whatever. We can do some things, Riggins. You know, if they don't want to go to school, maybe we can teach them in a center. If they don't want to go to school, maybe we can teach them in the back of the church house or somewhere on the playground. If they don't want to come to us, maybe we can go to them. But I said that to say, because I had a guy 2 weeks ago. I was in my yard working on the tractor, doing some work. I mean, I was sweating, man. I was hot because, you know, from winter to spring is always hard because you've been laid up for the winter. And when you get to spring, that first time you mow that weed eater, have you nervous and shaking and stuff and pushing the mow and all that other kind of stuff. So I was out there working, Rael. And I asked the guy, I said, man, you want to work? He said, man, no, I'm good right now. So I said, okay. 10 minutes later, guess what he said? Hey, man, you got $10 I can buy? You got $10 I can buy, but you could have worked and made $30, $40, $50.
That's what I'm saying.
The other thing, Glass, about what you just said is that they see what you got. They don't know the struggle that you went through to get there. They don't want to participate in the struggle but they want the rewards. That's the part that I don't understand, because each one of us have made a sacrifice in our life to get where we at. And I don't want to make this about us, but we had choices that we made, and they had the same opportunity to make those same choices. Even after they had one incident, they still had an opportunity to come back and be a part of to change their environment. But it doesn't seem like they changed their environment. They come back and they fall back into the same traps that got them to where they was the first time. And I don't know if and here's what I'll say. I don't know if it's because we don't have enough free people out there that haven't been incarcerated, where they could learn something, where they could pass it on.
But you know what, Ron? You can. It's no excuse now. You can learn in jail. You can get a GED in jail. You can get college curriculum credits in jail.
You get a master's in jail.
Yeah, it's just in some cases, and I'll say it. In some cases, people just want you to give instead of them go out and earn. This same person I'm talking about, let me add to it, and I'll go back to you, Ron. He had a job making $8.50 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
$8.50 an hour. He quit the job because he said it wasn't paying enough, but he wasn't working but 2 hours a day. But he quit the job. Now, and I can give you a list of these particular situations, circumstances, not just where I'm at, but folk that I deal with on a daily basis. Again, this is not a critical assessment. These are just realities that exist, and we just happen to be talking about. Ron, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna come back to you. Got a text out here from a listener. My thoughts are all over the place on this topic, so hope if you mention this, you can state it better. But I think we as parents have given our children too much. Unintentionally, we wanted them to have a life that we weren't given, but in the process, the kids grow up with the mindset of entitlement and not the sense of I need to work for or earn my way. Ron, I'm gonna take that to you, and then AF, you can chime in on it. What you think about that, Ron?
I agree with you. I think that we try to, I think we get caught up in. When we were growing up, it was a little bit hard. It was hard, but we tried to give our kids more than what we had. And in doing that, I don't think that we help them. I think that what we end up doing is making them think that stuff grows on trees. It doesn't. As we go out to work, we should be sharing that part of it with them too. That we go out to work every day, and the reason why we can buy those things is because we chose to go out and work. Now they may not have chose to go out and work. They that's a decision on them. And I always get caught up in these choices because it seems like they can't make the choices like we made. I know that if I sit there, I ain't gonna eat. Ain't nothing coming to me. When you sitting there on that corner, ain't nothing coming to you but what somebody offer you. Because you can knock on 100 windows and then you ain't gonna get nothing unless they want to give it to you. So I'm kind of at a loss, and I don't even know if this is where you want to go, Byron. But I'm gonna yield for Pastor Riggins.
No, what the young lady wrote is what I said a little bit earlier. Is that the children think that they can get a PlayStation, they can get this, they can get that, and don't know behind the whole scenes somebody has to work to get it. Two things. Number one, they say, why should I do my homework? Why should I make a grade in class? I tell the students, your grade is like getting paid. You earn an A, you earn a B. If you can't do that well, do your best and earn a C. That's like you're getting paid because later after you're out of school, you earn the money. So we're not gonna give you a grade. You got to earn the grade. That's your pay right now. That's your paycheck is the grade in the school system that you're able to achieve. I say literally, if you do it right, it will turn into dollars. Scholarship money, money to go to school. It will actually turn into money, literally, if you do it right. Because you can't play basketball good enough. You just dribbling the ball, spinning on your hand, and whatever it might be, or you trying to play football and you can run, but you ain't the best one out there. So you're not gonna really make no money out of that. Only 1% of people even come out of college gonna do that. Second thing, it has to be about us, because if we don't tell our story from our generation, the next generation doesn't know. When I got off the bus, me and my brothers got off the bus every day, we knew we had to work. Somebody had to feed the rabbits. Somebody had to feed the pigs. Somebody had to feed the chickens. Someone had to go with a shovel and dig the garden. Someone had to do something. We all had something to do. And if we was in the bed, 7:30 on Saturday morning, we got whipped out that bed.
Mm-hmm.
Come through there 2 or 3 times. Wake up, boys. It's time to get up. It's Saturday. See, when you got up 5 o'clock all during the week to get on that bus about 6 or whatever, right? So we want to stay in on, and we know we're going to get up on Sunday. So Saturday, we're going to try to take it off, right? We don't want to get up. Well, Saturday's my rest day. We want rest day. You come do it one more time. Get up, boys. Mama now cooking. We can smell the food cooking. We laying in the bed. 4 of us. After 7:30, guess what? Belt is out. We won't make our kids accountable no more.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, nobody making and say, well, grandparents are raising them. Well, grandparents are raising them. It makes it even much harder because grandparents want to color them and boo, 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 and oh, boo, boo, and all that. No. If your child missed the mark after you did everything right, and your child came and missed the mark, and then you got to raise the grandchildren, you got to double down now. Not come back off of it. See what I'm saying? And I just think we've lost a continuity. Let me say last thing. Marion talked about those churches. Man, that'll be a lot of money. I think 20 churches, $100. That's what, $2,000 a month? Is that right? I'm not good at math.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Times 12 is what? $24,000 a year, right?
Yes, sir.
Here's the problem why the churches won't do it, and we should do it. I've been part of African American Fellowship of Pastors. I've been part of Coalition of Ministers, all this stuff. There's a disconnect with community when we all think about, if we put our money in there, like what church is going to get the most out of it?
Yeah.
See, that divide and conquer, that crab in the bucket mentality.
Mm-hmm.
We should all trust the system, put the money in there, and then find young people that may go to some of those churches, may not go to some of those churches, and sponsor them.
Right. Find
programs that might not sponsor one person, but we could pay for the program to have 10 to 15 people in the program. Computer literacy programs, coding, whatever it might be. Teaching people a craft or some type of trade, but have the money to back it up.
Right.
Students could go and learn and then go earn. I was in Brenham, Texas. We did have Jobs Partnership of America that we were conjunction with about 4 or 5 churches. We brought in people that have been incarcerated, folks that's down on their luck every Monday night. There was a class that taught them about the spiritual work to work. There's a class that taught them how to take an interview, a class that taught them how to dress up. And then towards the end, we connected them with different companies around the area that can give them a trial to come and work over there to earn a job. That was back in the 90s, man. We ought to be able to do that, multiply that in different areas if we're really serious about keeping our people out of slavery inside the prison walls.
That's that. And Riggins, adding to that, you can take that same money. If a young man go to jail for 5 years, we know that his license already expired. So when he get out of jail, program can be set up. You can give him some money and go get his driver's license. He may be able to go back and start getting a job to get to and from. His tags and inspection may have gone out. Because when you get out of jail, Riggins, you're already behind the 8 ball. Okay? Because you hadn't had any money. You have no access to money. So when you look at, again, the lack of education, the high unemployment, and the mass incarceration, Riggins, if we took just 20 churches, if we just took 10, if we just took whatever church that was in the neighborhood, and they donated $100 a month, and let that money sit there for a year, whatever amount of money you raise, somebody in the organization should be able to come up with some types of programs that you can infiltrate back into the community, back into our neighborhoods, back in investing in our kids. So at some point, Riggins, if they're not doing it in school, maybe they'll have enough money from the church to go and get their GED, pay the fees to get their GED. You see what I'm talking about, Ron? So they'll have some kind of access to maybe getting their water bill paid, or getting their light bill paid, or getting some type of utility bill paid. Because again, we're supposed to be giving more than receiving, right, Mr. Spikes?
That's what they say.
Okay, so if you're giving not just to the man behind the pulpit, give back to the community. And what I'm saying is this is a collective obligation that people can have. And again, this is not critiquing. We're just trying to provide some other options that may or may not be available. And I'm not saying that a church is not doing it. I'm just saying where I'm at and the equation that I'm using. But what I can say about that, Ron, is this. See, my mama gave me everything, but it's a key to that. Hey, Riggin, she gave me everything that I earned. Okay, which means, like you just said, if we wasn't up by 8 o'clock, ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Something finna happen. So you had to be up by 8 o'clock, even if you were just up, sitting, dressed, and sitting in a chair, Ron, you had to be up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you had to be doing something. When I got of age, I had to I was made to take, the older people, the older ladies to the grocery store on a Saturday morning. I'm like, man, I want to sleep. No, you're going to get up and take these ladies to the grocery store. And you know what? I've told this story before. That same old lady, Charity Jerry, she's responsible for me buying my class ring. And I wear this in honor of her because she gave my last $40 to pay for my ring. So, Ron, I'm not saying that we're using ourselves, that somebody got to be like us. No. I want somebody to be better than me. Okay, but don't get mad and upset because we chose to lead ourselves rather than to follow other people across the path. Again, we're talking about mass incarceration, lack of education, high unemployment. Riggins, when you look at loss of education, lack of education, parental involvement, do you see it as being lacking out there in the Houston, Texas area or the school system that you're involved with?
Oh, yes, sir. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely. The parents want to blame the school. They want to blame the system. A lot of times they're still trying to get their lives together because we lost a whole generation, Gen X, that's already seem like they're trying to get their lives together, and the millenniums. But I want to add, and how I want to tie this in what you just said. See, if the church used the program you're saying, we'd be more effective than other people. Watch this. The Nation of Islam was doing this.
Right.
But what happened? They got caught up in the politics of what's going on, and the politics overshadowed the programs. So now they're still selling bean pies and newspapers, but with the program because the politics. Watch this. Black Panthers was doing this, but they got caught up in the way they presented themselves was violent reactions to violence, and it hampered the effort. If the church has the gospel, the good news, the church has the Spirit of God in it, supposedly, right? The church has the foundation of helping people from Christ. Go feed those on the sheep, that saw them in prison and visit them. They clothed the naked, they fed the hungry, right? But what happened to the church? The church has been sabotaged by Western theology that says only do one thing: focus on going to heaven. I'm focused on going to heaven while I'm living in hell. That's where we lost it. If we bring it back to, if the Nation of Islam could do it, if the Black Panthers could do it, if other people could do it, the church ought to be the leaders in doing it.
Right.
And my final statement is what you said about yourself, myself, and Ron. We chose to lead. There are too many people in the world that are followers. When I do a program called Boys to Men, it's trying to mentor boys, but 12, 13, 15, 16 years old. The first thing I teach them about is you got to be a leader. Lead, follow, get out the way. Few people make things happen. Some people watch things happen. Most people wondering what happened.
Right. And Mr. Spikes,
why we making things happen?
I think I know, and I'm calculating this in my head now. I know probably 20 people right now that I can call and say, look, need $100 from each one of y'all. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick a graduating senior this year that may be going to college. I guarantee it will be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody will give the $100 and never ask anything else about it. So, and like Riggins saying, if it's that simple for, well, you know, sometimes Riggins, it seemed like the drunken buddies out there under the shade tree, they share and do more for each other than the person that's sitting next to each other in the pew. On the pew. You know, and I always wondered that. I used to watch some guys that used to be with my uncle, and they go Sunday run and they have they fifth of whiskey, they gallon or whatever, and they just pass it. And I'm saying it's got to be something to this. If one go down, they all going down. But Ron, when you look inside of the four walls of the building, I don't see no unanimity. I don't see, you know, it's, and again, we're not critiquing. We're trying to provide another assessment of what reality is, able to talk about it without get offended. What is it that we can do to move forward? Again, mass incarceration, lack of education, and high unemployment. If you cannot see those three attributes that are 100% existent in your community, right where you stay at now, regardless of where you're listening at, if you can't see those three attributes, then I don't know what to say, Rick. Said those are three prevalent attributes that are there on a daily basis. You see, you know, Rick, I watch things, Ron, and I see kids that they won't go to school, right? They won't get up in time to go to school. But in the summertime, he'll up at 6:30, 7 o'clock walking the street. It's something wrong with that picture. So you know, somebody failing somewhere.
You know what, Glass? I listened to you talk, and here's what I'll say. We put a lot of blame on the church, and we asking the church for a lot.
Well, but put the blame.
Not the blame. Well, thank you for cleaning that up. We're not putting the blame on the church, but we're asking the church to do a lot. But here's what was available when I came out of school. You could learn those traits that you was talking about while you was in high school. You could learn different traits in high school, but it didn't cost you anything, because a lot of times those people that were in high school had already made enough credits where they when they went to those vocational programs in the afternoon and got out of school, they most of them could go get jobs and stuff like that, or they could do internships at corporations and stuff like that within Houston. And that puts you in a better position to deal with what's going to happen after you get out of high school. But if you're going to take it and make them pay for it to go to a junior college or a community college, you putting them in debt, because they don't have the money to pay for it. So at the end of their term that they go out there and they try to get a job doing the same thing, they got bills already because they got to pay for their tuition from those community colleges and stuff, where if you would have instilled in them while they was young, and people used to chew me up about this when we was doing Blog Talk Radio, when I said everybody is not college material. I'm not saying that you shouldn't give them an opportunity, but everybody is not going to college. You have to give them a trait or something that they can do while they're in high school, where they can at least experience something different. But if they just feel like they got to go to school and it's nothing there for them, that's the same thing that happens when they get out. They don't understand. They don't realize that knocking over a convenience store may pay your bills or get you a few cans of beer for a little while, but it ain't paying no bills for no long term. So you just knocked over a convenience store. Now you go be a slave for a long time. By the time you get out, you can't even get back into society the way that you're supposed to be, because we're not giving you an opportunity. I think that we all agree that we're not giving these kids the opportunity early enough, and the church could provide a source, and also the high school could provide a source for them to get acclimated to society. And if y'all want to chew me up for saying that, I'm good with that. But I still believe that because I'm just one of those people that came through that system. I chose to go in the military. That's still an option out there for somebody that don't know what they want to do. Go in the military. If you don't like it, come back out and find something that you can do. They'll train you to do stuff that you can use when you come out if you're just going for a short period of time. I think that our kids don't take options.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ron. That's what I was saying earlier. Welding, plumbing, HVAC, auto mechanic, diesel mechanic. They can do those things besides just go try to become an accountant or lawyer or teacher or some business manager. You can do those other things. And as you get a trade, work in a company somewhere, and if you get the motivation or the understanding that you can have your own company, that's when you go back to get the business management stuff so you can know how to run your own company or whatever you need to do. Or find somebody to be running the company. You're right. You all those options there, and even the military, like you said. Just don't sit around and do nothing or try to go and make quick money running dope or crime, trying to get over on people. Make an honest living. Make an honest living. But you start HEB, find out how to become an HEB manager. Then find out how to become a district manager. Come on. Find out how to become maybe get involved in the buying and selling the products if you need to. Just don't sit around in the streets not doing anything or trying to make quick money.
But Riggins, the difference between us three here and the generation now is that we had a mama and or a daddy or a grandma and a grandfather that was making us do the things that we need to do. We can spin it whatever way we want to spin. Everything, like my pastor used to say, the buck stops at home. If you ain't doing what you're supposed to do at home, then you can't expect the kid to go out and do what they need to do. If the home is the neighborhood, the home is the church, the home is the neighbors next door, the home is a combination of multiple things. None of those things exist now, Ron. When you was growing up, somebody in the house was guiding you about what was right versus what's wrong. Every time I go to a facility, Riggins, you know who it is that's getting these people out of jail? It's the girl while the dude laying up and ain't even working. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And again, these are just facts based on experience. This is not what somebody. So I started thinking, I'm like, it's got to be something wrong with this picture, Riggins, where I'm laying up at home and the girl is going out, the female is going out working, paying your bills. Not only is there something wrong with the individual male, let's take it home. There's something wrong with the female, because why would you be enabling somebody to have this expectation anyway? Now, I'm not saying that we all don't need a hand up. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, Ron, is when you are enabling somebody to have an expectation that it's going to be given, not earned. Everything that I got, my mama gave me. But she also taught me, hey, son, the expectation that you have of me, the world don't see you that way. So if you want to make it in the world, you can't have this expectation. You got to be competitive, which means when you get on the starting line, Ron, that means you're going to have to do extra than what the person next to you is doing. That means that you're going to have to think twice as fast. I was at a seminar Saturday when I came back from 8 to 12. And we was doing these little assignments and things like that. And I started noticing, I said, man, this competitive, they wanted us to write a sentence using your least dominant hand, which for me, it would be my left hand. Okay. And they wanted to see how long it would take you to write those 3 sentences in completion with a period with your left hand. Well, you know what, Ron? I'm sitting there writing. I'm looking up. I'm like I was when I was a kid, man. I don't like to lose. It's competition, fun competition. If I lose, I lose, but I'm not gonna lose by not giving it a try. What I'm saying is this: when we're talking about mass incarceration, lack of education, and high unemployment. Ron, there's a job for us. There's a job for us being a community. There's a job for us being a church. If the church have an expectation that you give the pastor an anniversary, he raised $10, $15, or $20,000, well, why can't you give the community $2,000? I'm not saying that they're not. These are just examples. Well, hopefully some are doing, but for those who are not doing it, this is just an option. Hey, look, again, Ron Spikes, A.F. Riggins. If I called you right now and say, hey, because we did it before when a little kid needed a horse down in South Louisiana. What I'm saying is you ain't just talking the talk. You walking the walk. What I'm saying again is we got to do more and we got to do better.
Yes, sir.
I agree with you. Come on, Pastor.
Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
You know, as I was listening to Glass talk, and we have supermarkets here. They have baskets on the lot, and I look at handicapped dudes, and I looked at handicapped people go out and push them baskets in.
Mm-hmm.
I look at and I'm gonna say it again. I look at Progress is hiring handicapped people to go out and clear their parking lot of baskets.
Right.
That's a job.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have glamour and all the rest of it, but that's a job that's putting money in your pocket. And if they can do it, what's wrong with your well-bodied? I want to say that word, but what's wrong with your well-bodied? Because you can get out there and do the same thing. The only thing that they got on is an apron that say Kroger on it, and they got on tennis shoes, and they pushing those baskets. Now, they might not push as much as everybody else, but they still there. It's a lady that works inside the Kroger store. I don't know what her condition is, but she can stand there and push buttons. She can stand there and watch the cash register and watch the people put their groceries down and self-shop like everybody else. That's a job. And talking about promotion within the grocery store, there's so many other jobs. Eventually, you can start stocking shelves, become a third shift manager. It's too many things that you can do. And everyone in our communities, I don't care where we at, have a grocery store.
And Ron, you know what? To add what you're saying, once you get the title of being a manager at this store, guess what? You can go be a manager at any other store because you already got it on your resume.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell you, my brother, same one who was cutting grass with me, worked at the Piggly Wiggly while he was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has a doctor of ministry, building a $2 million building in Baton Rouge. But he started off working at Piggly Wiggly. My brother has a PhD in educational leadership, started off working at Dairy Queen. In high school, he became the manager at Dairy Queen. In other words, there's no excuse if you want to go do it.
Right.
There's no excuse if you want to go do it. My son, Lord bless his soul, started out at Randall's and found out Randall's what HEB was paying more than Randall's. Went over to HEB, got like a $2 or $3 raise, became a manager at HEB. Before he worked for NASA, before he was hired by Boeing. Worked for HEB about 10 years almost.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse. It's that, but the foundation we gave our children and my parents gave us is what Baron said. Someone's not giving our kids a foundation.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Early living.
That's what I'm talking. And the crack in the foundation has put us in the mass incarceration era, has put us in the lack of education era, and has put us in a high unemployment era. The lack of a stable foundation, Ron, if we had to sum it all up, it's the lack of foundation. Now, can two gents give a foundation? Seriously doubt it, but we can offer suggestions and ideas.
Here's one, Byron. Stop beating your kids to the club before they get there. You in the club tearing up the place, showing them how to slap the fans and do the boots dance and all the rest of that. When they get there, you asking them to join in. That's not a foundation for a child. That's not a foundation. I mean, if you want to set a foundation, if that child in bed on a Saturday you might need to. I remember I'm gonna tell a short story. I remember my brother his friend had got a job. I'm out looking for jobs. My brother, we go to this little pharmacy in the neighborhood called Beakless Pharmacy, not too far from where Pastor Reagan's church is. And the lady said, "Well, I can't hire you," because his buddy had told him, because he was too young. My mother told me, we were sitting in the car. She said, "Why don't you go in there?" That's how I got my first job. Mm-hmm. My brother teased me about that today. He said, "You took my job." Mm-hmm. But that's the kind of attitude that you got to have. If your mother, and I'm going to say this because we try to encourage, if your mother and your father not doing it, get up and walk around your neighborhood. Evidently, they're not caring where you go. Put on some jeans, a shirt or something. Ask somebody. Mm-hmm. Go out and ask somebody. Say, "Hey, I want to work. I don't mind working, and mm-hmm. just tell me, what can I do?" Right. If one person tell you no, go to the next place. Mm-hmm. Keep on going until you find something. Right. You know, I mean, it requires something for you to do it, and I don't want to put that all on the parents. But I'm gonna tell you, you have to want to do it, and I want to encourage each and every person that's out there that's listening to our voice today. If you want to do something, don't wait on nobody else to do it, because you know it ain't gonna change unless you get up and do something.
Well, Ron, if you are the first parent at the club on the dance floor, but you're the last parent at the school to understand what's going on with your child, you setting them up for failure. Okay, if you are the first person to go out and do all this other stuff that's bringing negativity, dropping it like it's hot, and all this, that, and other, but you're not the first one at home reading to your kid, that's a pathway to destruction. So it all boils down to this foundation. The foundation of life starts with mom and dad, right? And if it starts from the womb to the parents, and then the parents with regards to educating, building something up in you. Yes, we all have a responsibility, Ron. I try to give my child everything that I could give her. I gave it to her because she earned it. As long as you get them books out and you make the best grade that you can make, it didn't have to be a A. It didn't have to be a B, but if your best was a D, which it wasn't, because he made all good grades. But my point is, we don't have to challenge him to make an A. Just challenge him to always try to do your very best. And eventually, Riggins, you'll know yourself. It ain't given to the swift nor the strong. Only those who faithfully endure to the end. So if you keep on toiling, doing your very best, eventually you're gonna get the reward. Wouldn't you think, Riggins?
Yes, sir. I'm a modify that one a little bit, but I'm gonna give you the first thing. The Bible, and even though we think the Bible is about religion, we've made it about religion. Mm-hmm. It's about truth. Psalm 11:3 says, "If the foundations be destroyed, what will the righteous do?"
Come on, Rick.
Now, we think that means if the foundations of our beliefs of like sinning and all that. No, that's not what it's talking about.
Right.
If the foundations of life, of what we understand to build our life on, is destroyed, then what will we do? Mm-hmm. Here's an example of it. The foundations of work ethic, the foundation of parenting, the foundations of accountability, the foundations of leadership has been destroyed. We've got to rebuild those. Okay? And the scripture that we talk about, the race not given to swift nor to strong, that's in Ecclesiastes 12th chapter. Mm-hmm. Or 9 and 12. The race is not given to swift nor to the strong. No, the race not given to swift, nor does the battle belong to the strong. But time and chance happen to them all.
And see, Regan, what
it means is that's going, if you do your best at the right time, you're going to have a chance to succeed.
And Riggins, what I have learned over life is this. You can have all the doctor's degrees that you want, but if you can't relate to the layman, it means nothing. So sometimes we give them the norm, and then we always compliment with something that gives you the abstract, which is what you just did. So Ron, again, when we talk about mass incarceration, lack of education, and high unemployment, if the foundation has a crack and it's not repaired, it can end to destruction. Now, the other thing, Ron, that I wanted to add is this. We was talking about tariffs, TARIFFS. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example, Ron, and how do I know this? Because this is something that I personally am facing right now, and I'm almost certain that my co-partner is out there from Alpharetta, Georgia. The example is this: if you got a T-shirt, Riggins, prior to the tariff, it was $10. Guess what that shirt is costing you now under the tariff?
Probably 25.
140%, $24.50. So, Mr. Spikes, it does have an effect. Now, here's the problem. If we're having, and we're not dealing with shirts, we're dealing with other products, which I won't get off into. If you have one of those products that may cost, well, let's get your calculator out for those who may be out there. Let's look at maybe $500 times 140%. What's that, Riggins? Let's put the math on it right quick. Let's look at it, Mr. Spikes. Times point. 500. Hey, bro, that's a lot of money right there. So, again, Ron, we skip from A to Z. We deal with the topic, and then we go out because there's a lot of things that we can talk about. But I wanted to note that because I told my counterpart that I would bring it up. So it is having an effect on a lot of things. I don't want to get off into the specifics. We do have some issues. Can this contribute to high unemployment? We don't know, but I guarantee you this, Riggins. If you went through, well, maybe not. Well, I don't know if your neighborhood or not, but you go through most neighborhoods and you ask any kid or an adult, what is a tariff? They wouldn't be able to tell you, Riggins.
No, because we teach it. We taught it. See, we teach it in history, and we got to go all the way back to the 1800s when there was a tariff. Andrew Jackson, who Donald Trump wants to be like Andrew Jackson. The tariff was about cotton. We'll put a tariff on Great Britain if they don't buy our cotton. France went along with us, and that's why.
I see we're gonna go over, and I know that I see where you're going, and I want to give you some leeway. But for the people that we're losing on Instagram in probably about 3 minutes, I want to tell you thank you for enjoying the show. If you want to go to YouTube, you can transfer over to YouTube, and you can listen to us live. Go to Two Gents on YouTube, and you can continue to listen to us live. Pastor Riggins is about to make a point, and I'm gonna make a point after the end. So go ahead, Pastor. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
That's okay,
but I want to let everybody know.
Yes, sir. So what happens is the tariff becomes like a stick in a carrot. If you notice, when the tariffs are put on, then people scream and holler about it. The stock market goes down. Rich people buy a bunch of stock. Take the tariff off, the stock go back up. Rich people sell and get rich off of it. But only one country out there, China, we want to continue to fight with them with these tariffs. Because it becomes an issue of we're thinking that we're trying to control the world economy by going head to head with China. China has billions of people, 1 billion people living over there, while we have 340 million, 350 million. It's like trying to mix apples and oranges. We need not worry about trying to fight the economy with China. We're cutting off our nose to spite our face over an ideal of we're not going to let China run the world economy. We're going about it the wrong way. No other president of the United States has approached it this way. Matter of fact, even Republican presidents, George H.W. Bush spent most of his life in China before he became president. A lot of other, it's not talking about Democrats. Democrats and Republicans knew that if Nixon is the one that opened up China. So this whole idea of America the best, make America great again, fight with China, is a false narrative. That's what's wrong with the tariff situation. And so then you have, like Baron was saying, if you have a $500 product, that's turned into what? About $1,200. For what? To say America is better or greater? It's like if I'm going to buy from Ron, if Ron can make it cheap and sell it to me cheap, and I can turn around and sell it higher, why I'm going to try to make a tariff till he has to sell it to me higher now, and then pass on the cost to my consumers? That's stupid.
And see, Riggins, here's where the problem come in at. This is from my provider. It's damn near impossible for businesses to resell as customers cannot afford a markup of 145%.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's the deal. The small man on the totem pole, he didn't have us in mind. Or the middleman that's on the totem pole, he didn't have us in mind. So, agree or disagree, what I'm saying is that there is a negative impact on millions of people, especially those who are just trying. You tell people to go out and create entrepreneurship. You tell people to go out and create jobs. Well, if everything is made in China, Riggins, and, man, people are not going to just sit back and take a boxing lesson and not fight back. And that's what China's doing. I think we got the dumbest person to ever occupy the Oval Office, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion, and I stand on it. Okay, we can agree.
Ron wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
No. I was scratching my nose, but I do want to say something before we get too far. I want to jump in on that tariffs part too, but here's what I'll say before we get too far down the road. Byron Glass always says this. He said, it's a lot of people that listen into our podcast that take our ideas and they always use it to do something else. If you got a bigger audience than what we got here, and you listen to our podcast and you want to do something within the community, you got an opportunity to do it now, because we done put it out there. We done threw out a couple of suggestions. And since you can reach more people than what we're reaching, but you're using our information, help that information get out to the public. Help that information get out to people that need to hear it, so we can improve our community and not just our podcast while we sharing information among each other. Because what happens is that we continue to do this podcast. You take the thoughts and process of this podcast and you do it on your end, but you're reaching a larger audience. You have the ability to reach out. Stop talking about what Trump is doing, everybody else is doing on your podcast, and help your community. That's the. And then I'm gonna get to this tariffs thing.
Hey Ron, what you saying? What Baron says? We planting the seed. The people you're talking about that can do bigger, they're watering. They can spread it like a river. Then God gonna give the increase. If we just plant the seed, if that's all we're doing is plant the seed, good. Let them put the water out there and spread it.
But I'm asking them to do it because their faucets are off. Their faucets don't cut on unless they benefit and gain from it.
And Mr. Spikes, and I want to add to it. I don't just settle for planting. I water myself, and I produce a seed. Because remember, if we can just help one person, Mr. Spike, if we just help one, I don't make it complicated. If we just help one, and I can guarantee you that some kid, a parent, will email, a text, or something. Hey, look, what is it that I can do to help my nephew, my son, my grandson? That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Spikes. So whether we got 12, 1,200, 12,000, 12 million people, I'm not concerned about how many listen. I'm concerned about what happened that one person that we may not even think that's listening. So at the end of the day, when the smoke is cleared and the dust settled, hey, look, I planted, Apollos watered, God give the increase. That's what we're looking for. So it ain't no competition. There's enough room for everybody. There's enough room for everybody to do whatever it is they want to do. If you don't like two gents, that's fine. Kick rocks. We're not concerned whether you like it or not.
And that's and Byron, that's what I was saying, because we know that they listen. We can follow. If you don't believe me, follow the podcast after we get off the air tomorrow, and see how many podcasts go down the same alley. Mass incorporations, people in jail, not enough education going on. You're gonna hear it from other people, but they ain't gonna say nothing. They ain't gonna use their platform to help nobody come up. This is what I'm saying, and that's where we got to get to. As Pastor said, we planting the seeds over here, and as Byron Glass said, we're watering too. But you have the ability to take it to market, and you're not doing it. Right. You're more concerned about other stuff, get numbers, so you can put money in your pocket. You know, different.
Right. They're trying to monetize it. Right, they're trying to monetize it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Ron, before I came on, I don't think I put any makeup on. I don't think I try to look any different than what I do on a daily basis when I go from 8 to 5 and do whatever it is I got to do. We ain't trying to impress nobody. We're not trying to get no ratings. We're not trying to get one nickel from YouTube or whoever. If they give it, that's fine. But the ultimate goal is to help one. I started out with the smoking glass out. If we could just make a difference in the life of one person, that ain't never stopped. It won't never stop. So we're doing exactly what we need to do. We got A.F. Riggins on Tuesday nights. We got him on Wednesday nights. Man, look, Ron, you got impromptus coming in. What else can we ask for? Well, we there's nothing that we should be bothered with, because like the pastor said, if it's something negative, don't answer, because all it does is take you out of character. If it's positive, if they say Ron Spike's doing two gents, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. But if they say Ron Spike's out there gospel, what, let them say what they want to say, because you're at the age now where your side of the story don't even matter, man.
Amen.
Don't even matter.
Amen.
Riggins, I'm gonna let you kick in.
No, I want Ron to talk about the tariffs. I know he probably have a different spin on it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot.
One of the things that puts us at a disadvantage in America is that you don't hear about gun violence in China. You don't hear about gun violence. Their kids are educated at an early age to fall into employment. That's the only disadvantage that they got. They don't have guns. They're not shooting up parties like here in Houston. You know, you got a 15-year-old person that's got a party, and they shoot 14 people, one person died. I don't have no answer for that. I don't have no answer for that. But if that's what we're dealing with in America, we need to do a better job. So if you're out there on that thing that you're gonna take from us, take that. That we need to educate our kids a little bit younger. We need to put those jobs back in school so we can help our kids. Then maybe the tariffs won't be so bad. Maybe we could produce some stuff here. But if we don't educate our kids, we're gonna constantly depend on somebody outside of the U.S. I know where you thought I was gonna go and pass, but I ain't gonna give you. I'm not going there. I'm just gonna put it back on what we've been talking about tonight. If we don't educate our kids, we're not gonna change the tariffs. The tariffs, and people gonna continue to go outside of the country because they can get it cheaper. Right. If anything, we can buy T-shirts from there if they're reasonable. But if we can't buy them from there, we should teach our kids how to go to Walmart, get some white T-shirts in a pack while they're still cheap, before the shelves start running empty from these tariffs, and have them put prints on there.
Yeah, I make my own shirts.
Yeah, we got to be able to do something, and we got to be able to, at this time. This is a good time for us to incorporate us doing something different. This is a good time for us to come up with, because that stuff ain't coming from China. Ain't nobody gonna pay them prices. So you gotta use what's here and make a difference. I yield, Pastor.
Yes, sir. mass incarceration, high unemployment, and lack of education. All three are connected. It starts with lack of education. School to prison pipeline. Don't get educated, can't get a job, can't get paid. Can't get paid, want to make quick money, you're going to break the law. And next thing you know, you're in a 6x6 or 4x4 cell, 23 hours a day. They feed you 2 or 3 meals, a slop, most of it. You get out 1 hour a day on the rec yard. You have a conjugal visit once a month. You lifting weights, having church in jail, and wondering how much time you need to get out. That's not a life. When you're out at first, you didn't put anything in. So then you put anything in to become something. Now you want to get out. Maybe one person here is like Barron says. One person here is and say, wait a minute, I don't want that path. That's all I'm trying to do. We're trying to stop one person. But one person become 2, the 2 become 4, and 4 become 8. Come on. Matter of fact, as the biblical principle says, 1 could chase 1,000.
Right.
2 could chase 10,000. You know what 3 can do? 100,000. You know what 4 can do? 1,000,000. Yep. Just follow that sequence.
And Ron, I have to believe that out of all these podcasts from 2012, 13, 14, whatever, somebody has gone back and heard something that has enlightened and informed them to get out, get up, and go do something better. So, you know, again, it bothers me that there's so much competition when it's enough room for everybody to do whatever it is that they want to do. If you don't like A, go to B. If you don't like B, go to C. Why stay focused on 2 gents? What that tells me is that, yes, you love 2 gents. You just ain't got enough courage to say it because of whoever it is or whatever alt you got with whatever it is that's going on. But see, Ron, you got to have wisdom, not you in particular, but people got to have wisdom to understand, you know, how the enemy works. Hey, look, as long as we have a platform, we're going to always try to make a difference in just that one person. We're going to always talk about mass incarceration. We're going to always try to encourage, let's put a dent in lack of education. We're going to always try to provide sources and resources for high unemployment rates as to how to make that, lesser than what it is. I got a message here. The only way this works is if we can produce in the U.S. and sell at the same cost as China. We cannot get Americans to work for pennies on a dollar like they do in China. So unless we have manufacturing here, and we don't, good comment. Tariffs are only painful to regular Americans. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Again, we try to jump off into everything, and I think that might be one of our not issues, but we try to do too much in the amount of time that we have, but we don't do too much. I'm using that as a cliche for those who may say, well, they talk about everything. We do. We talk about everything. The alphabet go from A to Z, right? So we go from A to Z. When they name the hurricanes, they go from A to Z, and then when they go past Z, they have some other names, right, Rick? So we do everything that everybody else won't do. We talk about tough issues. We talk about things that most people are afraid to talk about. We're not afraid to talk about Democrats. We're not afraid to talk about Republicans. We're not afraid to talk about each other. We're not afraid to point the finger at each other. We try to do whatever it takes to encourage other people that, hey, look, if they can do it, maybe we can. We don't take it personal. Ron, I know you always have, because you're up at night, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock, looking at different podcasts, searching to see what we can do to make it better. And I know you well enough to know that somebody has rubbed you pretty much the wrong way, and we don't have to go off into it. But nevertheless, a pastor always said, if you can't encourage, don't discourage. So I'm encouraging. As long as you have the ability, the will, and the desire to put this platform on and provide a voice for those out here that's willing to do it, that's a win to me, brother.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you what rubbed me the wrong way. And since we do this thing where everybody can learn from it, I'm gonna encourage you guys, anybody that's listening, I'm gonna encourage you to research your congressman, research your senator, and go out there and find out where they're investing. Because wherever they're investing, they're the best brokers out there. So if you got $100, $20, and you got Robinhood or something on your telephone, invest that $20 wherever they sitting on chair in those different parties, and they go out and they invest in. Go out there and do it, because this is gonna be a whole nother show, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because they're getting rich.
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
they getting rich on the same. They're sitting on the committees, and they know what's coming down the pipeline, and they know that this company has another contract coming behind there, and they're doing the same thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Pelosi, I'm gonna call a Democrat for every Republican that you call, but I'm telling you, invest behind them. You can't lose, because
but see, Ron, this how you make it.
Is just bothering me, man.
Yeah, this how you make it easier and simpler. See, I don't care whether it's Republican or Democrat. We're talking about human beings that are milking. We're talking about human beings that are milking the system. So that's where everybody is different from us. We don't really care whether it's Obama, whether it's Michelle, whether it's Kamala. We don't really care, because the facts are the facts. Okay, so we just saw where Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'll let you finish it, but I want to interject. Go ahead and finish, Ron.
No, we really need to investigate that, because I'm gonna tell you something. Most of those people, and Byron Glass and Pastor Riggins, I say this all the time. Most of those people go in the office, they can't keep the lights on at their headquarters. They barely paying whoever they got helping them. But somehow, miraculously, they get in Congress and they become these great investment strategists. And they gold pot just starts to fill up. But if you look at the committee that they was on, look at the stock that they bought.
But guys, remember when we first started Two Gents a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and we were talking about the elections and why the Congress people don't want to stand up and what happened? I kept putting up the word lobbyists.
That's it.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's it.
They're bought. They're not afraid of Trump. They're bought by companies that support Trump. They're not afraid of certain laws or want to make a difference. They're bought by the pharmaceuticals. They're bought by this certain corporations. And then if you find out how they're bought, might not be cash because it's too obvious. But if you got stock investments, you'll be tied up in it. So that when you have that golden parachute, then when you don't get elected, and finally, you can go off to the sunset and still live rich. Because the love of money is the root of all evil.
I'm gonna tell you about this young man.
Go ahead.
I was looking at this podcast, and this young man say, and I told Glass before we came on the air, they don't even call it Democratic and Republican Party when it comes to investment. They call it the Uniparty. It ain't no left, it ain't no right. It's called a Uniparty. You go there and somehow you invest and you become rich. And it ain't no secret behind it. But if me and you did the same thing that they did to get to advance their cause, they would call it what's that trader? It's a name for it. Glass, come on, help me with right here. Insider trading. Insider trading. That means that you had information before the stock came out and you made it or you sold it before it went down. But it was me and you, they want to put us in jail.
But see, Ron, that's what the tariffs are too. Part of the tariffs is a bait and switch. Put a tariff out there, drive the market down, buy stocks real low in the companies that you invested in. Then he comes back and says, "Oh, by the way, we take the tariff back." Stock goes back up. You now can sell and put the money in the bank.
Sound like a yo-yo, don't
it?
Yeah.
And what goes down must come up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you remember, I don't want to put words in my mouth, but I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna get ready to get out of here, Pastor. I'm gonna give it back to you, Byron, and he's gonna give it to you. But you remember what I told you? What goes down comes up. Mm-hmm. The stock market was down. Right now, he's starting to look like a hero. I guarantee you, before this 2-year cycle, when the next election come up, it's gonna go down about 3 months before. It's gonna miraculously come back up again, and we're gonna be singing the same tune.
Yeah, but you know what he also did? And when I bring up next show, his approval rating is the worst for 100 years as a president. Oh, he's trying to blame the media, Fox News. He's trying to blame ABC. He wants to take the funding from PBS and NPR. All the stuff he wants. Something is wrong. They're lying. There's false, they're fake posters, all this stuff. But quietly, guess who's about to go leave Washington, D.C.? Elon Musk. Because he know what the problem is. Elon Musk doesn't look bad on him now. And Elon Musk also losing millions and millions and billions of dollars in Tesla. And they say he may be leaving Washington, D.C. soon. Why? Because he's trying to clean up his image, because even Republicans have soured on him. When the Republicans are down to 80% of liking him, because Republicans always are 94% or better behind their candidates.
Pastor, what did I tell you about playing chess and checkers?
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna hip you to this. Elon Musk might be having trouble with Tesla, but he's getting an awful lot of government contracts other ways.
Oh yes, oh yes.
That's offsetting everything for him.
Right.
Tesla stock might be down, but I guarantee you, he's getting a lot of government contracts. He might be leaving to go back and resign from Tesla, but he ain't resigning from that job in the government.
No.
He's getting all those contracts.
No. Here's what he's gonna do. He's already getting contracts from the government.
Mm-hmm, that's what I'm saying.
No. But he's gonna leave the whatever that DOGE, whatever. He's gonna leave that for image. Trump trying to clean up his image a little bit. But let Elon Musk leave and still go back in backgrounds and run stuff.
We're gonna have to do another show on that one, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
But see,
because I'm gonna throw it out there too.
But everything Riggins said is true. But here's the problem. He may be at his worst in over 100 years, and the Democrats still ain't got a voice that's out there. So we still losing, losing. So that's what I'm saying. We not us, but we talk about everything that he doing wrong, but ain't nobody else got a grip, Ron. We just talked about this. If he had 100%, if he's at his worst of any president in over 100 years, and you look at other statistics that say Democrats still ain't gaining no way, shape, form, or fashion. Ain't even got a voice out there. They just is more. Well, they are more fractured than the other party, because Republicans, they don't like what's going on, but you won't know it out in the open because they stick together. Like Reagan said, 94% of the time they supporting their candidate. The other side of the coin, they got the worst man in 100 years, and they still can't gain people. They flipping the script, Ron.
You know,
they dumb the game down.
Y'all talk about me listening to the podcast and stuff and listening to stuff at late night. They already focusing on the next election process that's coming up. They already evaluating every candidate that comes out. They didn't already say that Kamala Harris ain't gonna have a chance to run for it again. They already planning. I haven't heard no Democrat talk about who's gonna be the next president. They're not even talking about the races in midterms. Glass. We got to stop. I'm giving it to you. I'm gonna stop right there. I got.
Well, we do know that I can't think his name. Oshkosh. Not Oshkosh. I can't think his name. In Atlanta, Riggins. We know that he the Secretary of State is not going to run against him. We know that Raphael Warnock is challenging some of those, but I am worried that. Well, let me put it this way, and I'm gonna be done with it, Riggs. I'm gonna send it to you, Ron. If we don't get one of the houses in 2026, it's lights out, Irene, from here on out.
It's lights out. It's lights out because even when it goes to the next presidential election, their vice president is already out collecting money.
Right.
Well, Trump should be showing up. He ain't going. He got the vice president out there, so that his money source is going to already be in place. We don't think like that.
Yeah, Riggins.
Yes, sir. What are y'all talking about? Being proactive, not reactive. And that's the biggest problem with the Democratic Party. They're not proactive. They're reactive.
John Ossoff is his name.
John Ossoff, yes.
Yeah.
But the party with the most now are the independents. It's 33%.
Hey, Pastor, one last thing. Can I interject this before I let you go?
Yes, sir.
I heard that Bernie Sanders had a gathering not too long ago, and those young people that was in that crowd was calling themselves a socialist.
Yeah, socialists, yeah. The independents are the biggest crowd, and all a party has to do is cipher off 10 to 15% of the independents, because it's 33% Democrats and 30% Republicans, which means that 6% that like Trump, that 39% is 6% independents that like him, with the 33% Republicans. Which means our game is not about trying to keep the Democrats. We already got the Democrats. They're in our back pockets. And because all three of us are independents. Watch this. Democrats got their base. They can't go beyond their base. That's the problem. They can't show the rest of the country what can they do for somebody to come join them. But that's not the whole show.
But here's another addendum to that, Riggins. We were once a Dem.
Yes.
But they didn't even care why we left.
Right. When I left, nobody cared that I left. Now they keep begging me for their money.
Yeah.
You just seen I gave money to Obama, I gave money to Biden. They keep begging me for my money, but I'm not even a registered Democrat.
Yeah.
Sound like
all the time. They still sending stuff for getting money for the Senate, money for this. They'll bring up Kamala Harris' name and everything. I'm not even a registered Democrat.
Yeah.
Ask me why I'm not a Democrat, and then we can talk.
Yeah.
Maybe another show, Pastor. Give us some prayers. Byron Glass need to go get that. Make that trip. I see him leaning.
It's storming at night. I'm ready to talk. Hey, look, Riggins, and we're gonna get on out of here. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm good if y'all good.
Coming night.
Y'all know I ain't got to go nowhere.
Coming out in Georgia.
Hey, Riggins, I told him what my reason was, and I told him two things. Number one, you had no backbone. You'll say something today, and then tomorrow you come out and you change the whole platform. The other side of the party, whatever they say, they said they mean it, they're gonna stand on it.
Whether it's wrong or right.
Number two, you was fractured. You had certain people that you wanted to control to run for certain offices, and if those other ones was out there running, you didn't want to support them. You make all kind of excuses. So at the end of the day, Ron, hey, look, I don't need to follow the D or the R. I follow my own independence, and whoever I choose to vote for is whoever I choose to vote for.
That's right.
And that's the way America should feel, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get this young man's name next time, and I'm gonna tell you, when he say uniparty, let that stick for a minute. What he's saying is basically it ain't two separations out there. They both doing the same thing, and neither one of them have your interest at heart. They got their own interests at heart and their own pocketbooks. So, Pastor, we did pass the offering plate. We know that if you invest, you can put some money in the offering plate. And I'm giving it to you on there, Pastor. Where you take it from is up to you. I know Byron Glass said he got time because he ain't going nowhere. I definitely got time.
I'm going to tell Ursula right now, close the door.
What is that? Pastor, we need to get out of here with a prayer. I ain't going nowhere without a prayer, Pastor.
I will, man. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
We need to invest in our youth.
Yes.
We need to invest in our families. The church needs to invest in the community. We need to rebuild the foundations that have been destroyed. We need to find a way. If we just get 2 or 3 young people and start working with them, 1 or 2 families, start working with them, 3 or 4 churches join together I have revival coming up next week. I want to take the revival from the pulpit to the community. What we're preaching in the house ought to be some action in the streets. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to talk with these gentlemen, 2 gents, on a weekly basis, as we strive to impact our community, our city, and our world. We several states we know that listen to this. Some out of California, some out of Georgia, some from the East Coast, some from Louisiana and Texas, even Arkansas.
Amen.
Let a revival begin. Not the type of revival that's trying to get people just to know who Jesus is, but a revival of our homes, a revival of our education of our students, a revival of our community, a revival of our worth. If a young person know their worth, their purpose in life, they'll quit looking for an entitlement and a handout and want to become somebody. Lord, help us, Lord God. We can build leaders. We can develop leaders that can become great. And whether they are working in the streets or they're working sweeping streets, as Dr. King said, be the best street sweeper. Sweep like Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel. Whether they are on the trash truck, let them, Lord God, the community waste, whatever it's called, let them, Father, be the best person on that job. Whether, Lord God, they're in the accountant's office, in a doctor's office, whether in the classroom, whether they're on the car somewhere as a mechanic, or whether they're welding, whether in someone's roof, fixing the air conditioning, or under the house doing the plumbing. Let them know, Lord God, that making a living, an honest living, could make them great.
Yes.
We want to break this chain, break these chains and this cycle and generational curses of poverty, of mass incarceration of our young men going to jail. Young women too want to break, Father, this mindset of the education not worth anything. And we want to speak and release hope, learning, success, freedom, and power. And this can be done, Father, by the church also, not just any other group. We call for this in the name of Jesus, we pray. Leave this place without your presence. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. I want to say one thing before we get off there. And maybe it's just me or somebody else, Glass. Maybe you and A.F. Riggins got a different perspective. Cinco de Mayo wasn't as great as it was in the years past this year.
No, sir. I paid attention to that.
It wasn't as great as it was. So things are changing around us, and that might be another subject.
Yeah, they kept it on the radar. They didn't want too much attention brought to them.
They didn't want to get.
Yeah, well, they want ICE to show up.
Well, yeah, and the other hyperbole on it is they taking away everybody else's history and want it to only be Anglo-Saxon history. So
yes,
it's a reason for everything, man. Ron, again, appreciate you, brother. We all in this weather, pray for, safety. Man, it's just a lot going on, man. And at the end of the day, peace.
Yeah, we done gave y'all a lot of subjects that y'all can go out there and continue to use them. Pastor gave us a prayer. We're going to say, thank God, thank God, thank God, and we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace.